Hello everyone and welcome to Supperlicious. Today is going to be my second soup test, which will be French onion soup. And then I have a second video also coming very soon, which is going to be a puree soup, ham and pea soup. So please enjoy both these videos. If you like what you see, please leave a like and subscribe. Any sort of hints or tips you want to give, then by all means leave in the comment section as long as it's civil. And hopefully I'll see you in my next few videos. Okay, here's my soup bowl, my cheese. This is actually cheddar cheese. I couldn't get hold of Gruyere cheese. My baguettes, beef stock, white wine, flour, make a roux, a bit of garnish there as well, some sliced spring onions, butter, bit of salt, and onions. Just so you know, we'll also be adding pepper later as well if I need to. So my soup bowl, saucepan, shall I say? Sorry. Okay, now I'm just melting the butter in the pot, adding a dab of oil. It actually helps the oil helps better from burning, stops it from burning actually, and does actually work. So there you go. And here I'm just adding my onions. I'm just breaking them up a bit here actually. I don't want to sort of put them all at once in the pan because I don't want any sort of oil or butter to splash out. So put in a bit first, and then I can safely put in the rest of the onions. And what I'm going to do here, I am just going to break the onions up a bit, coat them in butter and oil, and cook them down, sweat them down. But I won't have colour. I want them to caramelize. Okay, it's actually called a Maillard reaction, okay, where we're allowing the chemical reaction to change the color of the food. So it's more brown. Of course, we don't want them burnt, so you have to keep an eye on these onions. Just keep stirring them from time to time. Let them cook down, let them brown. Okay, here I have covered the onions just to help them to cook faster, to help them break down. And then later on I'll cook them uncovered just to continue the cooking process, allow them to brown and to have color will help the end product provide flavor as well as depth of color. see in this quick photo that that's what you want. You want to keep that voice to the pan and that sort of flavour and helps the colour of the soup. Okay, here I'm just adding my garlic. I'm adding my garlic a bit later because you don't add it too soon, it can burn and result in a very bitter taste. So you want to add that a bit later in the cooking process. Earlier on I mentioned I had flour to make a roux. Well, actually I'm not doing it like that. It's actually I'm adding the flour now, as you can see, to the onions and mixing it through. So I'm coating the onions in the flour, allowing them to cook out a bit more so the flour doesn't become lumpy when you add the stock. Okay. So usually when you make a roux, you melt butter, then you add the flour, let it cook out, then you add your liquid or whatever to thicken. Here I'm adding flour directly to the onions, and now I'm adding my wine. I'm adding it gradually. Like I said previously, you don't want to form any lumps of the flour, so you add it gradually. And also I'm deglazing. I'm deglazing the base of the pan. In other words, I'm removing all that residue, all that flavour from the base of the pan. Adding the final drops of wine now. And of course, when you're cooking with wine, you don't have any of the alcohol left over. It all cooks out. What you have is the actual flavour, the taste of the wine. So when you are choosing a wine to do cooking with, do take some care into what the wine tastes like. Sweet wine or dry wine, for example. Okay, now I'm adding my beef stock. You can make your own beef stock or use a stock cube, depending on how much time you have. The stock I'm using here, I just got from a cube. I have a previous video where you can see me making stock. If you want to see that video, then please find it in the video section. I'll leave a link at the end of this video as well if you wish to see it there. It's not a problem. Okay, you can see the color of the soup. It's not very dark at this stage, it's all brown. I like it a bit darker myself, so what I do here is I add a touch of browning. Okay, I add a touch of browning, and this actually helps deepen the color. It doesn't affect its taste, its flavor, even its consistency. It just adds more darker color to it, darker brown. Just helps along a bit. Of course, could have cooked the onions for a bit longer, made a bit browner, so I wouldn't have to do this. But for those of you who have to make a soup, you think, oh, or even a gravy or sauce, you think it's too light in color, you can use browning to help it. And that's the point I'm trying to make here now. You can use these different methods to help you when you're cooking, help you when you cook. And that's the whole point, is making it easier. It's not just working hard at recipes, it's also making things easy for you. If you think your sauce is too light or you want it darker, then use the browning. If the flavor's there, the flavor's good, don't need to start again, just use that browning. Make it darker that way, and you still have very good soup. You still taste nice, still look good. So don't be scared to do something like that if you've never done a soup like this before. Don't be scared to do it. But of course, for the sake of this test, yes, in hindsight, this onions could be cooked a bit more, could have been browned a bit more, so I wouldn't have to do this stage. Okay, the soup is simmering, well, quite aggressively now, actually. But you can see the colour. The browning has helped a lot. A nice deeper brown colour, much more attractive. And here are my baguettes, sliced, toasted, ready to go back into the soup and the grill and the cheese. Melt the cheese. Okay, so in a second now, I'm just going to place my soup in my soup bowl and then place it under the grill. Allow the cheese to melt. And of course, this is when you have to be very, very careful. There's a hot grill, so you have to be very, very careful. Just a quick point here, I'm tasting my soup. It's always very important to taste your food during the cooking process because you need to make sure your consistency, the flavor is correct. It's good. It's no good cooking something for service and you're not tasting it throughout the process. You don't know how it's going to taste until the customer actually tries it themselves. Always taste your food during cooking. And just before you serve it, taste it again, just to ensure you don't have to make any alterations. Always very important. Always taste your food while cooking. Okay, so now I have my soup bowl ready. It's safe to go underneath the grill. Like with any sort of dish you use for service, you have to make sure it is safe to use under the grill, or even if you have to put something in a microwave, then sure, make sure it's all safe. Now here I'm just spooning it in now, ladling in, sorry. Don't want to overfill the bowl. Maybe I add a bit too much here, but I like my soup. Just going to cook wipe. It's best to wipe it now before placing it under the grill. It'll be much easier then. Otherwise, it will cook onto the plate and it'll be harder to clean off. Now I'm just placing my bread. I'm actually using 2 pieces here. I think in hindsight I could have just used the one. And I'm just placing my cheese now on top. Yes, it's not the correct cheese. I couldn't find the other cheese, unfortunately, so I just used cheddar cheese for the purpose of this test. I suppose if you're making this at home for yourself, you can use any cheese you wish, but traditionally it's Gruyere cheese. I think I pronounced that correctly, but I don't think I did, so apologies for that. And now it's going to be placed underneath the grill, carefully, allowed to melt, and then carefully removed from the grill. Right, as you can see, there it is underneath the grill, so be very careful at this stage. Okay, I have my wooden board on the flat top here, so it doesn't destroy the worktop. Should be coming into view any time now. And here we are. Okay, there we are. There's the soup. Now I'm just going to add some garnish to it, just to give an interesting contrast in colour, because it's got brown and yellow, so you want some green in there, make it look more attractive. Of course, some say the first bite is with the eye. If it looks good, then it's going to taste good. First impressions and all that, very important. And of course, as always, if you're serving this to a customer, always make sure you let them know that the bowl is hot to avoid any problems. Okay, the end product itself, I'm reasonably pleased with it. It tastes very nice, it tastes good. The consistency is there. It's not too thick, not too runny. Plenty of cheese. Personally, I would add more cheese. I love my cheese. Could have used less bread, I think. Less bread. And maybe I shouldn't have toasted it, but it depends. I think I like a bit of crunch in my soup, and it's important to have a contrast in texture. Making a little mess there now. Never mind, hey. But no, it tasted fine for me. Of course, I'm biased, but no, it did taste well. Like I said previously, the onions could have been browned a bit longer. Shame I couldn't get the actual cheese I wanted, but not bad. I think the end result is good. Always room for improvement, as always. Of course, there's always room for improvement. Always want to think back and think, what could I have done better? What I could have changed? Here's some final photos of the soup, the finished product. So for example, I could have used less bread, perhaps a different bread, maybe a softer bread, so it's easy for the customer to eat. Thank you for watching. Yes, I do like my Napoleonic history, and it is a French onion soup, so there you are, the big man himself. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye and stay safe.